Hey everybody, back to school here. I had been watching some people do some cooking stuff. I know Scatter's going to be doing a cooking thing today with some crawfish etouffee. And Dad and Daughter, I watched a bunch of their cooking shows, and I thought, what the heck? There's one thing that I make that I know I can make well, and that's chili. I used to compete in chili cook-offs. It was a different kind of chili because you weren't allowed to have beans or vegetables or anything in it, but still the base is always the same. So I figured what I would do is I would make some of my chili today and then share the recipe with you guys. And any of you want to go make it, you can. Tell me what you think of it. If you like the recipe, then I guess I did good. But what we're starting with is this is a roast. It's a boneless roast that I'm taking some of the fat off. Not much. It's got a lot of marbling in the meat, as you can see, so it's going to be very tender. But I cut this into some cubes, and I also have cut. This is 2 red and 1 orange bell pepper. This is 1 medium red onion and 1 small sweet Vidalia onion, and I've got 2 serrano chilies over here, and I've chopped up 2 cloves of garlic, and so that's kind of the base, and I'll show you the seasoning as we go. I hope you all are having a great Memorial Day weekend. This is an important weekend to remember all the people that gave their lives for our freedom, and please take time to remember them. Maybe you know somebody in your family that did, or whatever, or just thank them. If you see, thank family members and stuff for their service. You guys, this is, even if you got active family members, I know this is Memorial Day, but these guys give their lives for our freedom. Not all of them, not all soldiers give their lives, but the trauma that comes with it afterwards, after being in war, can be devastating and can affect a whole life. So make sure you guys take a break and think about that for a second today. It's usually my birthday weekend. My birthday is actually on Tuesday, so I don't get the birthday day off kind of thing with my wife, but we'll do my birthday thing tomorrow. So with that, you guys, I chopped this up into smaller pieces. We're gonna cook this in a Dutch oven. You can cook it in a crock pot easily. It does the same thing if you want to set it and forget it. So as I go through this real quick, I'll do some more chopping. I'll come right back to you, and we'll show you how to put it together. You ready? Thanks. Alright, so we're back at it. I've cut my meat up all the way. By the way, I want to tell you guys this is boneless chuck roast. It's about just over 3 pounds. And this is I think it's a 5-quart Dutch oven. So that's kind of the method I use. Like I said, you can do it in a crock pot. We're going to crank this up. I put a little bit of oil in the bottom here already. And I'm going to set this thing kind of it's an electric stove, which I hate, but we're going to set it at 6. And that should be fine right there. 6 should be fine right there, right? Hopefully the thing will fall to 6. So here we go. Warming up this oil. I want to show you a couple of the other ingredients we have here. We have 1 large can of whole peeled tomatoes. I drain about half the juice out. We have a small can of whole peeled tomatoes. I drain all the juice out. We use 1 can of dark red kidney beans, and it's a large can, 30 ounce, and then a small can of black beans. On the beans, I put them in a colander and rinse them off because the beans kind of have this slimy sauce in them, and it really makes the chili watery and weird. So you have to rinse them. I got some Worcestershire here. I have chili powder, cayenne pepper, garlic powder, chipotle chili powder, onion powder, and some paprika, and that's kind of what we're going to use for the base. I will tell you guys, it's not a measured thing. It's just season as you go and taste it. I can eyeball it for the most part, but I do adjust it throughout the recipe. So we got this oil heating up here. We're going to let this shimmer a little bit, and that on, the open. All right, guys, here we go. I'm going to start browning the beef. You can come over here. Okay, we're dumping all that in there. Okay, I know some people would say do it in batches. I'm not worried about it. Remember, this thing's gonna stew for hours. So we got it in the oil. I'm gonna go ahead and season it with some salt. Okay. And some fresh black pepper. Like I said, this is season to taste, you guys. You like more pepper, less pepper, adjust it. Okay, you don't need a lot of salt because these seasonings are pretty good for the most part. So here we go. Next shot, some Worcestershire. Not a lot. Maybe like a quarter of a cup. All right. Shut that back. Put that back in. Leave that down. All right. So as this is cooking in here, we're going to start the process. We're going to toss it a lot. It's already beginning to brown on the bottom. The good thing about a Dutch oven, a cast iron oven like this, is that they heat real evenly, and so that's beneficial. All right, you guys. As this browns, we're going to take this out in a few, and we're going to bloom the seasonings in the leftover oil. We're going to bloom the chipotle powder, the cayenne pepper, chili powder, the paprika. You heat that up in the oil a little bit, stir it up for a few seconds. You start to get real fragrant. You can smell it, and then we'll start dumping vegetables in, and we'll follow it up with that. The other thing I suggest is grab yourself a cold one. Make sure it's not this cold, like the one we got left in the freezer last night. It'll be ready tomorrow sometime. Doesn't hurt to drink something when you're cooking. So, as I said, you guys, this chili is a recipe that's been modified from my competition chili. I used to compete in the RJ Canning chili cook-offs, and for all you young ones, you won't know what that was. RJ Canning was a huge off-road competition, and they had chili cook-offs at the raceways and all this stuff. Just amazing fun. And I won 3 of them, and then I realized that the chili needed more to make it an actual meal. And that's where the chili competition doesn't allow you to. You're not allowed to put beans and a lot of vegetables in it. So I modified it to kind of make it an all-in-one meal. I believe we're going to have cornbread with this tonight. There's the cornbread mix right there, Marie Callender's. Don't give us grief, guys. We're in California. If I knew how to make cornbread real good from scratch, my wife's made it once from scratch, but we got so much cooking to do, we bought the mix. Just to make it easy. Tomorrow we'll be barbecuing all day too. And so this is browning up nice, okay? Like I said, you want the heat on like a medium high. The meat doesn't have to cook all the way. You're just trying to get a little of that brown flavor on there. And so I'll take this out in just a minute, and then we'll start blooming the seasonings here. So let me grab a slotted spoon so I can get this stuff out. Okay. Like I said, it doesn't have to be cooked all the way. I'm not worried. I just want a little browning on it. Okay. And take this out. Alright, boom. Boom. This chuck roast, I looked at other cuts of meat. The chuck roast had the most marbling, and for the price, it was only $1 more a pound than London broil. And London broil, anybody that's ever cooked a London broil knows that ain't the most tender piece of meat, and you really have to you have to do a lot to make it tender. So we went with this because it had phenomenal marbling in it. All right, I'll eat that last couple pieces out. All right, here we go. I'm gonna set this here for a minute. All right, if you take a look in here, we got a little liquid. I'm gonna add a little bit extra oil. Okay. That. Okay. And I'm going to start with the seasoning. Like I say, this is not a measured system. That's chipotle chili. Probably put in about a tablespoon or 2. Okay. Chipotle has a nice smoky flavor to it. Here's cayenne. We're not going to put too much in, but we're going to put about a teaspoon in. Okay. Chili powder. We're going to put like 2 tablespoons in. Okay. A little garlic powder. We're putting some garlic in, so I don't need too much garlic powder. Onion powder has a different flavor than the onions, so it's good to put in there, about a tablespoon of it. And then we have this sweet Hungarian style paprika, and we're gonna put about a tablespoon in there too. Now, You start stirring this immediately, you'll start smelling the fragrance, which we already are, right? And boom, 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 boom. All this stuff on the bottom, don't even worry about it, because when you start doing this, tomatoes in with a little sauce, tomatoes in without the sauce, and then what I do is I heat these up for a minute. This will also help deglaze the whole pan, and you can see already the sides of the pan are cleaning up, bottom's cleaning up. It already has that dark color to it, which we're looking for the chili. All right, so I'm gonna heat these up for a few minutes, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna crush them this way. And the reason I do this versus buying diced tomatoes are usually in such small pieces that they annihilate if you cook them too long. So we're just gonna rough chop these like this. Okay. Whoa! Uh-oh, camera woman just got hit in the face. You need a towel, hun? Sorry, baby. She gets hazard pay for this. I don't know what hazard pay equals for a wife, but I guess I owe her more. So, okay, here we go. We'll wipe this down real quick. Did it hurt you, babe?
Yeah.
Oh, babe. Okay. She gonna have to do something about that. You need to put your hand on the water or something?
I got it.
Okay. All right, so this is kind of processed a little bit just by using something like this, which you can use for potatoes or whatever. So now we got that cooking in there, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna start to add the veg, right? So we add, this is two red bell peppers and one orange bell pepper. We're gonna dump that in there. This is one medium red onion and one small sweet Vidalia onion. And dump all that in there. Okay. Now, the controversial part. People say no beans in chili. Well, it ain't competition chili anymore. This is one large can of dark red kidney beans and one small can of black beans. Dump that in there. All right. Now, last but not least, we're gonna have the meat back in. Okay. Now, this, along with this garlic, and these two Serrano chilies, and I'm only using two. You don't cut them up, you don't do anything. Throw them in whole, okay? I'm only using two because my wife doesn't like it too spicy. The more spicy you want it, the more Serranos you can put in. I've done it with up to 10 Serranos and a habanero as a challenge to my friends who were saying they could eat anything hot. They hated me afterwards, not that day, but the next day, you know what I mean. So we're gonna throw two in here. And the deal is, you cook all this down, and these Serranos, if you pull the stem and just the stem comes out, it's done. So we're gonna mix this up a little, okay? Kind of, you don't need to add any liquid to it. It'll liquid down, trust me. All right. And so we're just gonna stir it up real quick. Drop the heat to about 3.5 or 4, low to medium heat. And this thing is just gonna simmer for about 4 hours or so. You put it on for 4, and we'll check it when we get done. We'll come back, you guys, in a few hours, and we'll show you what it looks like, and better yet, we'll tell you what it tastes like. And if you really want to know for yourself, go make it. I think it's not cheap to make chili anymore because of the price of beef and stuff. For this meal, I think we spent $20 on the roast, and the cans of stuff, the veg was probably another $15 or something. If you have some seasoning around your house, you're cool. If not, that you can get a little thing of garlic, onion, chili, cayenne. You don't have to add paprika. We're adding paprika because we like it. It's a sweet paprika, and this chipotle chili sauce is really bomb and definitely worth getting. So for that, that's where we're at now. One last thing. Add one more splash of Worcestershire on top. Okay, there you go. And we'll be back in a little bit, you guys. So hang in there, and we'll show you how it turns out. Thanks. Hey guys, we're back. We're about 40 minutes or 50 minutes into the cooking time. Remember I said you do not need any liquid, and I'll show you why. ready. See, it's simmering. See the liquid that came out of it. That's why you don't need to add any water or anything. Just stir it. Stir the bottom real good. Alright. And let me do this real quick. A little more salt. Very good. Very good. So we're just going to let that set for a while. We've turned it all the way down to low. And it'll simmer for the next 3 hours. By the time we're done, it'll be so tender, so delicious. Oh, can't wait. By the way, when you go to do this at the end, if it's a little too loose, you can mix some cornstarch and water and mix it up and put it in there, and it'll thicken a little bit. So that's one way to do it. Yeah. And by the way, I forgot one thing, you guys, was a very important thing. A can of tomato paste went in here right after I turned off the camera. I know normally they tell you to cook your tomato paste so that it doesn't have a raw flavor to it, but the fact that this is stewing as long as it is, you don't have to cook the tomato paste first, just dump it in. So with that, we'll check back in a little bit. I hope you all are doing great. Have a great day. Hey guys, it's been 4 hours. I just literally turned the heat off right now. We just pulled some cornbread out of the oven. That's a Marie Callender's cornbread mix. It's what we had available. Let's take a look at this. Like I said, it thickened up quite a bit. So if you take a look, that's some chili right there. All right, so the way we serve it, we take it, throw it in a bowl. Right? Throw it in a bowl. Just like that. Just like that. And then take a little cheddar cheese. Dump a little cheddar cheese on there, and that melts real good because the chili is nice and hot. And then we follow this up with some chopped up onions. These are actually green onions that we had, and they give a nice unique flavor to it. So we threw a little bit of green onion on top of it, and that is it. Let's see. I'm going to have my tester take a test bite of it.
No, you taste it.
Me? Well, I got to ask you because you know I'm going to love it. Right?
Yeah. I tasted a little bit of it. It was good. The meat was very tender.
Oh yeah, it's hot right now, so let me put a little bit on here and blow on it for you. This stuff is amazing, you guys. We did add a little bit more salt because we taste as we go, but that was about it. So I'm gonna have my tester taste it and tell you what she thinks.
Ow.
Hot.
That's good.
You like it? All right. Good batch? All right, you guys. I hope you can follow this recipe. It's pretty simple, not too many ingredients. I think I spent about $34 for everything today that we did. But this will serve us many meals. And I hope you guys enjoy it. If you like the recipe, try it. Let me know what you think of it. All right? Peace.